we talk about Israeli ag tech companies, a large global company arrives and builds a strategic partnership in various forms. Throughout the past few years, CropX has grown and began to collaborate and make noteworthy acquisitions in different markets. Recently, the company has completed the acquisition of a Dutch company, Dacom, in what turned out to be the third most significant acquisition by CropX in a short while. This is a wonderful opportunity to hear from Tzach, CEO at CropX Technologies, and Janneke, CEO at Dacom Farm Intelligence.
Okay, Janneke, hello and welcome to Israel. So just a little bit of background about yourself. You grew up on a farm and at a certain point assumed the CEO position in Dacom, which was founded by your father.
Yeah, indeed. I did grew up on a farm, and after that, I didn't have interest in taking over the farm, so I went to business school. I had a master's degree in law and business. And well, in that time, my father, he actually saw computers, that computers came up. He was a farmer. And he thought, well, I should combine the two things together. You know, it's some in the day-to-day decision-making of a farmer, lots of things go on. And if they can make better decisions, well, maybe I can do something with that. So that's basically still the core of our company. So it's still the core of Dacom. I entered the company. So that's about 15 years ago now. So I did a lot of sales related things and organization of the company. And later on, he asked me to take the position of being the CEO of Dacom. So that's basically my story. But maybe you can tell also something about yourself. You have a pilot background, and it's completely different than agriculture. How do you end up in a high tech in agriculture?
I indeed started my career in the Israeli Air Force as a transport pilot. I flew transports until the age of 25. Then I left the Air Force and I studied computer science and I became a software developer. So I worked 4 years for Intel as a software developer, and during that time I did an MBA. I didn't like developing code that much, and I frankly wasn't very good at it. So I tried to kind of search for other things to do. And I was very fortunate at that time to have been accepted to one of the venture capital firms in Tel Aviv. So I became a VC for 4 years, very exciting at the time. I learned a lot, but eventually I realized that I liked the operational side better. Then after that, I founded an e-commerce company. So again, internet, that kind of grew nicely. I ran that for about 5 years. Until eventually I sold the main brand to a large diamond manufacturers who were selling online diamonds. And at that point I just happened to I was looking for my next gig. I really wanted to do something that had a do good aspect to it. I didn't know anything about AgTech, but I was just approached by a headhunter that offered this opportunity to me to join CropX, and I kind of fell in love with the company. Was kind of a love at first sight. I really liked the space. I really liked the fact that the company had both a hardware and a software solution. I thought that gave us a huge competitive advantage, and I was really attracted to the investor base. CropX has a very, very strong syndicate, which, being a former VC, I know what a huge impact that has to the potential success of the company. And so I signed up and never looked back.
Okay, but now you're the CEO, and you have many paths to choose how to grow a business, and you took the path of consolidation. So can you maybe tell a bit more about that? Why did you choose for this specific path for growth?
Yeah, well, it didn't happen overnight. I came to this from two different directions. I think one of them was from the product's perspective. And the other one was from the customer's perspective, the company's perspective. So, from the product side, the CropX that I inherited, back in 2017 was mostly focused on irrigation management. And at a certain point, I just realized that that's good, but not good enough. We could do more. Farmers need, they can't have many apps, one for irrigation, one for fertilizer, one for seeding, one for, crop protection, weather, satellite, etc. And, you kind of need to have a one-stop shop and essentially a full solution, a full farm management system. And so on one hand, the consolidation is a very kind of effective and attractive way to broaden your offering relatively quickly. So that's from the product perspective. From the company's perspective, it's just an interesting way to move forward quicker and faster. So essentially, buying customers to a certain extent. So it took time, but eventually, we did our first acquisition, and we saw that it worked well for us, and it became a strategy for us. So that's kind of from my side, but I think from your aspect, so you're kind of you're on the other side. So I know that one day I received an email from one of our investors that kind of introduced Dacom to us as a potential acquisition opportunity, and then I know that you kind of had other opportunities, and so why did you decide to sell, kind of, and then rather than just continuing to grow organically?
Yeah. Well, I took, of course, over from my father, and it was then a Windows-based platform that I was CEO of. And then we, of course, saw that the SaaS platforms came up. So we decided to go that path as well. So we completely transformed our organization. And it was also the time that we decided that instead of trying to conquer the whole world that we were doing, because we were active in many, many countries all over the world at that time. So we speak about 10 years ago. So we turned it more into, a SaaS-based geographical platform with all sorts of information on parcels and giving farmers advice, but it's on in the cloud, on a mobile. It was also then we decided that we should focus on the Netherlands and Belgium. So we were very successful in that. So we grew very rapidly in the amount of customers, but also in amount of SaaS turnover. So it took really a flight. But we knew, well, of course, the Netherlands is very small, but we knew from the past that if we want to accelerate in internationally, that's quite a struggle. And you cannot do that. Well, we're a small company, so we couldn't. I was thinking, well, if we want to go do this and we want to do it in the same pace as that we've done in the Netherlands, then we should have a partner, a strategic partner. And then, of course, the search what kind of strategic partner, and it had to fit two things. So we really wanted to have a partner that had presence in the world. So in several areas of the world, we wanted to have a possibility to scale, and it needed to have strong backers, so strong financial backers and investors behind. So we know that we could scale, in a fast pace. So that's basically the time that we, as shareholders, decided that we're going to search for a partner. Yeah.
Okay. And I know that during this process, so first of all, you kind of stumbled upon parties that said, well, hey, we would potentially invest in the company. And in addition to that, so you had the option to sell to, startups such as CropX, but you also had the option to sell to, a large corporate. How did you decide, and why did you decide to go, in the route of, selling to CropX, a startup, rather than, the other alternatives that you had?
Yeah. So if we wanted to make the jump, we wanted to make a fast jump. So, and also to not only to collaborate, but really join forces. So that a minority investment was not, it was off the table immediately, and from that perspective. But of course, then still there is the opportunity to go with a larger organization, or with a very entrepreneurial, aiming high company, smaller company, where you have a lot of influence and you make the vision yourself. It's basically the same vision that we had. So during that process of searching, that was basically our conclusion. If we did the profile of CropX, like a smaller company that's really pioneering and really innovative, and it really was a matching DNA, and we have the same goals and vision. and it was so alike that we just thought this would be the best, nicest route to go. And if you're part of a larger organization, then it could also, well, that you're too small, and that well, in the end, that it fails because of that. Yeah, so that's why we choose for you. But maybe you can, yeah, you had also many opportunities. You did many acquisitions before, so with CropMetrics and with Region. So maybe you can tell me a bit more. Why did you want to collaborate with Dacom, and so why would you want to enter Europe as a
Yes.
continent?
Yeah. So Dacom was for us a perfect fit from several aspects. So first and foremost, as I said before, CropX started with irrigation management. We then developed our, fertilizer management capabilities. Up next was, crop protection, and in that respect, Dacom was a perfect partner, very, very advanced with its crop protection capabilities, disease modeling. Also, in terms of farm management and connections to other, platforms and machineries. So, Dacom connected to 20 different brands, including Agco and Deere, etc. And so for that it was just a perfect completion of CropX's aspirations and becoming a full solution and a full farm management system. So that was a perfect fit, and it kind of completed the puzzle for us. And as you said, it was also a very fast entrance into Europe. So CropX, started in the United States. We then acquired Region in New Zealand, so we have a relatively good presence now in New Zealand and Australia, and we also have a certain presence in Latin America. But Europe, we barely started, and this was a very this accelerated kind of market penetration in that respect. And of course, there are other very significant benefits, such as just being able to learn from the shared data, etc. And as you rightfully said, we were also very impressed with Dacom, in terms of the culture and the DNA. It was a very, very good fit. So, it was really, it seems like 1 + 1 equals not 3, but I would even say 5 right out of the gate. So very, very excited about that. Maybe another question for me. So we for us, this was kind of our third acquisition, so we knew what we were getting into. We kind of knew what to expect, in a certain extent. And we've also, as Israelis, we work a lot with abroad, so we've had a lot of experience working with Europeans and Americans, of course, etc. But I think for you, this was not only your kind of first time selling a company, but first time that you're, I think, exposed to the Israeli culture. So any kind of funny observations or anything, any surprises, anything you want to share, any aftershocks? Be gentle, please.
Yeah, well, of course, what struck me was it was immediately from the start, it was actually a natural fit, because we're both very, well, Dutch people and Israeli people are very direct, and they say whatever is on their minds. So, and also what I really liked, so no fuzzy talks. So it's really clear language. So you don't use too many words to come to the point, and highly efficient in that regard. Well, and I would say what struck me on Israel, what I did not expect is that, well, the high tech, really high tech, as a high tech country, but also that, well, it's highly organized. So everything goes very efficient, and well, that struck me most, actually. So and also, well, of course, people are very proud of their country. So I'm here now in Israel, and people tell me a lot about the culture and everything, and people really would like to show me the country. So so far, so good. But well, maybe for you, you can well, 2 months now. Maybe you can tell a bit about the post-merger integration with our on our companies, and what you see and how it goes, and what strikes you the most.
Yeah, and I see that we're kind of a little bit running out of time, so I'll keep this short. But I like you, I was very, we as Israelis, we tend to work a lot with the United States, less with Europe, I think, on average. So we're, I at least was kind of, grown to think that, hey, Americans are more like us, and Europeans are kind of less more formal, etc. But I was very positively surprised in this respect, like you said. The Dutch culture seemed very, very close to the Israeli culture, very direct, very to the point, not as formal in terms of even that dress code, like, jeans and t-shirt, etc. So it was actually a perfect fit in that respect. That was a very positive surprise for me. In terms of PMI, maybe I'll just say, just one point that tends to work well for me. So, I try to relocate in both directions, employees as fast as I can, and that really helps, I think, bringing the two companies and the two cultures together. So as you know, we're working on that bi-directionally already. So that's great to see, and trying to fly two people to meet each other face to face, despite COVID, where that's a big effort for us. So I think that kind of summarizes my question on that. Just my answer. Last question. So, there are a lot of startups here in the background. So maybe, can, from your perspective, share, the do's and the don'ts, when being acquired.
Before we got into this whole process, we hired external expertise. So we hired two persons that could really help us dealing with this process, because, and if I look at it on the backwards, that was the smartest thing that we could have done, because they have all the experience already and know what the next step is and what is normal in these kind of processes. And so many things are happening at the same time, and so many new things that you've never seen before, never done before, are happening at the same time, and you have to deal with it. And then it's very helpful if you have good advisors at your side that can give you the right advice at the right time, even though you have to make the decisions yourself. That's also something you have to do yourself as a CEO. And one of the things that's really helpful, if you have these people, you can blow up some steam when things get really heated, because we had heated discussions, and that was also very good that you have some people that would really, well, you can also say things that you wouldn't say in would not say to the other side at that point. So what's your next step then? If from here, so we've joined forces, and actually we are already a global player. But what would be your next goal, next step?
It's not my next step; it's our next step. And yeah, continue to grow. I think, as you know, our biggest challenge right now is completing the product integration. I think both companies have very, very strong platforms, and bringing those two together is going to take some time and proper planning, so we don't make mistakes and don't rock the boat to our customers. So we're currently focusing on the quick wins and the low-hanging fruit, but by all means, continue to expand, continue to grow, continue to consolidate the industry, and hopefully we can meet again next year and talk about our next acquisition in that respect.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah. So Janneke, thank you very much for visiting us here in Israel and for this conversation. I think this kind of wraps up in terms of our time's up.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you as well.
Bye.
We are moving on with the competition. Don't go anywhere. This is your moment to make a difference on who will be the best Israeli ag tech company for 2021.